Town Hall Academy, episode 34.
Make a wise choice. Be the master of your business. Master it to the best of your ability. Give it 100% of your consciousness. Give it 100% of your attention when you're at work and when you're at home. Please be with your family, because there's nobody, not one person ever recorded on their dying breath, the last 30 seconds, said, I wish I spent more time at work.
Welcome, automotive aftermarketers, to a Remarkable Results Radio Town Hall Academy. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to the Town Hall Academy, episode 34. Ever wonder how to balance your work responsibilities with your family's responsibilities? Well, you've come to the right place. My panel on this episode has made it a rule to make work-life balance a part of what they do. They share tactics and disciplines on how to make family time, downtime, or even recharge time an important part of their life. Carm Capriato here, thanking Jasper Engines and Transmissions for their support of the Town Hall Academy. Here's another reason to choose Jasper. It's the commitment to continuous improvement. Their investment in research and development, product updates, and remanufacturing processes means Jasper provides the perfect product. In this academy, I'm with Jerry Kazaya from the Auto Shop in Plano, Texas, Greg Skolnick from Motorworks in Rockville, Maryland, and Joe Valend from the Auto Safety Center in West Bend, Wisconsin. Remember, today's podcast has a sister video. If you want to see the discussion in action, you can find it at remarkableresults.biz/AO34. Now, there you can see Jerry, Greg, Joe, and myself on screen. You'll find extended bios on my guests and links to their previous episodes right there on the show notes page. And another great feature of the show notes page, it has the episode's outlined talking points. No need to take notes. They're already done for you. In a recent survey of my listeners, they told me that 49% listen in their vehicles and 37% listen at home. Other places were lunch, working out, airplanes or airports, walking the dog, and even mowing the grass. No matter where you find the time for the education, I thank you for engaging in the Aftermarket's premier podcast. Honored to have you partake in this huge content library. One of the easiest ways to listen is the Remarkable Results Radio listening app. Find it at your app store or at remarkableresults.biz/app. Now, listen to 9 tips for a better work-life balance with shop owners Greg Skolnick from Motorworks in Rockville, Maryland, Jerry Kazaya from the Auto Shop in Plano, Texas, and Joe Valend from Auto Safety Center in West Bend, Wisconsin. Here we go. I want to start out with you, Jerry. Tell me about work-life balance. You've told me before that, Carm, if you don't believe it, you can't get it done.
Well, that's pretty much the basis of it, right, Carm? So when you're talking about work-life balance, the first thing is, number one, you've got to believe that it's possible. I talk to so many folks. As you know, I'm also a business coach. I help folks take their business and double it within a year. I hear so many people tell me, man, how do you get it all done? How do you balance this stuff? You know, they just have this belief that you can't. I'm telling you, number one, before you can achieve it, you got to believe it. That's really the bottom line. If you walk into the concept that it'll never happen, you're right. Henry Ford said it, whatever you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you're going to be 100% right. And I personally, from me, I'm telling you, work-life balance is such a possibility. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a great way to live your life.
Do you have to schedule it, guys?
In my opinion, absolutely.
You just can't say, hey, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. It's not going to happen, is it, Greg?
It has to be on your calendar, always.
For me, it has to be a habit. For example, my guys at my shop allow me to leave the shop at like 10:30 in the morning every day. That's when I go to the pool or I go hiking or something, because I have to have this exercise, or else that's the first thing that drops off. It really does help quite a bit.
Now, I want everyone to know that it was Greg who brought this idea to me, and he is passionate over this, and he's been on the show before and talked about the things that he's doing. And one of the things that I admire the most about Greg, he's got a 4-day-a-week business. Now, you talk about work-life balance. That's really something. So it's important to you. I've heard you say this to me before, Greg. You don't want to be the richest guy in the graveyard.
That's it. Yeah, it's true. It is one of those things like, how much is enough? So when you start talking about balance, you have to sort of realize that we're more than just our businesses and we're more than just our jobs. We have family, we have our own internal growth, that we're on our own paths, right? So, and if we want to be happy in life, we need to have some basic stuff, which I think a business is any business, but especially the auto service business, will just suck it right out of you, because it never ends and it's never enough. And especially in management, I mean, I remember when I was a technician, you could close the hood after you're done with the job and everything would be fine, right? You're done with it. But in management, when I made that transition into the owner's responsibility, it never ends. So being able to plan for it, being able to acknowledge it, I think is the main thing. Now, 4-day work week, people think I'm crazy, and I am in a way. I leave a lot of money on the table because I'm only open 4 days a week. But we found a way to do 4 10-hour days. I have very little turnover in my shop because of it. The employees love it. I think they're pretty spoiled now. It is one of those things. It's a 40-hour work week. I mean, our shop is open 40 hours. We've trained our clients over the years how we do it. And we have some backup when we're closed. So somebody is on call, that type of thing. But the goal is, and I tell my people the same thing, I just want you to do something on that Friday, because it's only Fridays that we're off. So it's every Friday. We're also every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So they have 3 weekends all year. I tell them that something on that Friday has to be just for them, that helps them. And it has to not be working on cars for money. Because if you're going to work on cars for money, you might as well do it in the shop and, we might as well make some more money. But I really want them to take care of themselves. So whether it be biking or whether it be getting a massage or whether it be taking a walk in the woods or going swimming or doing something other than working on cars, that's the main thing.
Do you find your people doing that?
I do. I know one of my guys, my older technician right now, is in the woods hunting at this moment. So I know that that's really good for him. I don't know what some of the other ones are doing. One of them might probably sleeping. I know another one's probably playing video games at the moment. But the point is that it is an off time for them, and it's a downtime, and they need that. I know there's some family things that are going on too. Some of our office staff have families, so this is a big thing for them too.
Hey, thanks for all that, Greg. Great inspiration. I appreciate that. Joe, you said to me, Carm, you got to have a purpose.
That's right. When I bought my business in 2005, I did it like the way it was done before, where the boss was, on the service counter. He was under the hood doing a lot of different tasks. And after a while, I realized, I can't do it all. And part of it was, I needed to figure out what my purpose was in my organization. And knowing your purpose allows you to focus on that. So there's a quote that I like. It was said by Bill Belichick from the New England Patriots. Now, I'm in Wisconsin, so I bleed green and gold. Not a huge...
And oh, by the way, I don't mean to jump in here, but our biggest rival, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan, is the New England Patriots.
Right. I figured that, there's not a whole lot of love on your side for the Patriots. But, Bill Belichick said it best when he said, do your job and do it well. And really knowing your purpose in your organization, in your shop, allows you to focus on that. And your role as a shop owner should be leading your team. If you're doing service desk work, service advisor work, or technician work, those are full-time jobs in and of themselves. And that doesn't leave a whole lot of time to manage your team, and your team becomes an afterthought.
So is your point, Joe, that you can get a good work-life balance if you really do what you do, no matter if it's personal or work, and do it to its fullest extent?
Right. Yeah. You know your purpose, and that's what you do. And if it doesn't fit within the realm of your purpose, like fixing cars, so to speak, or answering the phones, you find somebody that can do that job, hopefully better than you, and you delegate that task to them.
Now, it's important to know that I believe all of you entrepreneurs started somewhere doing everything in your business, and you're qualified now to look back and say, hey, yeah, sometimes you got to start because you're the chief cook and bottle washer, but you cannot always be. I think the point that even the entire catalog of podcasts, over 300 compared to the podcasts and the town halls, have that theme in common. I had to find that time to become a CEO of my business, and I think that's what you're saying. Do the job you have put yourself into doing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Know your role and bring in the right people to fill in the other spots. And then you can really focus on your purpose and leading and doing what you need to do.
Carm Capriato here with Ron Haugen of Westside Auto Pros. Ron, are Jasper product improvements important when deciding to buy your next engine or transmission?
Oh, absolutely. Not only important for me, because I know that I'm going to put a product in a vehicle that's going to last, but they're important for my customer. My customer's already got an engine that's failed, maybe because a component was under-engineered, and Jasper's gone in and found that and fixed that. And if somebody's committing to the kind of investment to put an engine in their vehicle, they're going to want the best one they can get.
Hey, Ron, what could you tell me about Jasper's customer service?
Jasper's customer service is above and beyond pretty much any of the vendors' customer service that we use. There's been times that I've often thought we need to hire whoever trains Jasper's staff to come train my staff. I mean, from the initial phone call to if there's a warranty problem, a question, a technical issue, they answer the phone and you're immediately talking to the person that can help you.
Hey, Ron, thanks for your insights on Jasper.
Thanks for asking.
So, guys, priorities. Joe, you also mentioned you've got to have priorities.
That's right. I mean, we can all say that we have a priority, but, our actions display our priorities regardless of what we say. You say, well, my family's a priority. Well, really, how much time are you spending at home? And how are you engaged?
Right.
Yes. How are you engaged at home? Are you there? One of the best books that I've read was Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. He has a quote in there, good is the enemy of great. And really what that means, there's so many good things that we can get involved in and engaged in that take our time. It won't leave us enough time to pursue the great things. And so really you have to prioritize your day, prioritize your life to make sure you're focusing on the great things. And I guess what I want to say about that as well is, when you look at, well, what is the great things that you want to pursue, you can ask yourself two questions. What is important to you, but also what is important to your spouse or those that you are responsible for? Sometimes we can be so one-sided that we miss something else, and we have to bring in those other people in our lives that really make a difference and matter to us. So making sure our priorities are set. And as a shop owner, we need to prioritize and just do the tasks that only we can do.
Greg, you are big with family and spouse. You've been on the show. I call all of you friends, and I've heard you speak so warmly about that. Give us some insight.
Okay, so I got to start out a little bit with the driving force. And I love music. You guys probably know that. I'm a musician myself. I'm a drummer, but started out hearing when my younger son was born. Was not long after that when I actually started the business. And it was around the time that there was a hit song, I guess it was Harry Chapin Carpenter, I think it was, Cats in the Cradle. Okay, so this whole thing about when you coming home, Dad, I don't know when, we'll get together then. And the whole concept of that song is that you spend your whole life doing that. And then at the end of it, you realize that you've wasted it. Okay. And that now he's doing exactly to you what you were doing to him. It still gives me chills. So that was kind of a driving force for me. And so I decided that I needed to make a balance point, with this. So definitely got into Cub Scouts and then Boy Scouts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm still involved in them still. That's my volunteer thing. But more than anything else, it is kind of a thing where, and I learned this from the School of Hard Knocks. I'll be straight with you about this. You need to pay attention to what's going on in your family, and especially your spouse, because when I started my business, it became the other woman. pretty quickly. If you know what I mean, it becomes the other woman. And it's like, you get this stuff from the spouse and you're working your butt off, you're sweating and gross, and you come home and trying to eat macaroni and cheese and, hot dogs and stuff. But it gets to a point where you're wondering, what the heck is going on here? Why are you angry with me? Or worse yet, why are you not paying attention to what's going on around in our relationship? And I think most of us know people that have lost their relationships because of their total, tunnel vision focus on their business. There's a time for that. When you start the business up, clearly you've got to push, and everybody's got to pedal hard, but there comes a point where you have to realize that there's damage being done over there in your relationship if you're not paying attention to them. So definitely, there is this rub between being your own, starting a business or being your own business person and your family. And you have to really work hard at finding ways to do that. I do that. And I think I've given you one of these before, Carm, but basically I made up a sheet, and every week on Mondays when I do my personal planning, Monday mornings, it has like all the different 12 areas of my life that I want to make sure I take care of something during that week. And so it includes being a spouse and father and grandparent, because I have 4 grandkids now. And so is there something I want to do there? Is there something in my volunteer world? Is there something in the marketing, in the bookkeeping? And, there's stuff that happens all the time. So it's a way for me to keep track of it. And I really love what Joe was saying about knowing your place, because, Joe, you're spot on with that. You got to know. Well, and I will tell you, and a lot of people who know me will understand what I'm saying here, is that I have a great deal of difficulty in prioritizing things and knowing what to leave alone. And I get squirreled, it's like, hey, there's a shiny object over there. Oh, I wonder what that is, so it's easy for me to waste a lot of time. And Facebook is one of those. I've said that before.
Oh, dear. He said it. Jerry, you're doing some Facebook stuff, Jerry, aren't you?
I am. We do a lot. I do videos all the time on Facebook. I do not spend a lot of time surfing Facebook. I spend a lot of time putting things on, because I think I have like 9 or 10 groups that I'm in direct control of. So, wow. Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot. And I also have a couple folks that help us with some of the Facebook posts so that we can stay current.
Well, there's a work-life balance thing, delegate. It really, and that's one of the talking points we do not have here. But although I think part of the theme is about delegation, I need to comment about the other woman, Greg. I believe I'm going back in the day because, I owned my own business for many, many years. I have a feeling I remember hearing my wife say one day, yeah, Carm has a mistress. And it was like, how do you know? Oh, it's the business. I'm not sure I've been a good student of work-life balance. When you have that entrepreneurial fire, sometimes you just can't let it go.
But you know what? The good part about that is you get to start over tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I do. You're absolutely right.
So we all get 24 hours every day, and how we choose to spend it is our choice, right? It's a choice. So just understand it. And I'm a business development coach as well, just like Jerry is. And I do see struggles with some of my clients where they cannot seem to stop working on cars because, or their technician doesn't know how to do something, or they're not very good at diagnosing something. So they have to, they jump out there because that's what they know how to do. And how damaging that is to the overall growth of the company and to that individual technician. Even though you may be trying to teach him something, when you go in and do it for him, you know what happens. You're giving him a fish. So you're training him to come to your office and say, boss, how do you do that? But you're so good at it.
It's a complete choice on the client's part.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. And they still do it. I mean, it's something that is so difficult to get them to understand that what they're doing is hurting them.
Right.
Good stuff, guys. Hey, Joe, Greg just mentioned planning. Interesting concept, huh?
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like living with, purpose, or, being intentional with your life. And I think that really comes down to having a plan and putting it in place. So for me personally, I like to plan my day, prepare my day so I can be most productive. There's a couple ways that I'll do that. First of all, I have my office and my desk here. It's pretty clean, and I'm not going to move the camera and show the desk, but pretty clean. And behind me, there's a credenza, and on the credenza is a lot of projects that I have started or they're in process. And so there's a couple piles of papers and things that need attention. But what I'll do is that I'll keep that as my staging area. When I'm ready to switch projects or whatever, I'll just turn around, grab it, place it on the desk, and that's what I'm going to focus on at that point. If your desk has a bunch of papers and stuff all over it, you can just kind of get like what Jerry said before, squirreled as you're looking for something, and you see this, and you're right away you're off topic. So keeping the desk clean, helping you be productive.
Nice.
Also, I like to plan my day on paper, so I'll have like a task list. And I'll put down, all the tasks that I would like to get accomplished today. And as I get them done, I cross them off. Of course, over the process of a day, more things come in. The list grows a little bit, but that's okay. If I don't get everything done in the day, that's fine. I will just transfer everything over to the next day and then focus on that. Obviously, you kind of reorganize, reprioritize according to deadlines and stuff like that. But the key for me with the list is that as I look at it at the end of the day, we call it a day at 5:30. So at 5:15, I look down at the list and I can see everything I did crossed off. And you have that sense of accomplishment. You said, you know what? Today was a productive day. Today I did look at everything that I did. As a service advisor or as a technician, they can look at all the ROs that they wrote. They can look at the pile of part slips that came. A technician can look at his billable hours. And at the end of the day, he can sit back and say, it was productive. Well, what do we have as a shop owner that tells us you were productive today? It's okay to go home and spend time with your family. It's okay. You put in an honest day's work. And for me, having that task list really just encourages me to go home and be 100% at home when I'm there. My list is here for the morning so I can get after it when I come back.
When you leave at 5 or 6, Joe, do you put work on the back bench?
The task list definitely helps me with that because I don't have to be thinking about things that I need to do tomorrow because it's on the list. It's here. I come in and right away, there it is. I think I still can grow a little bit in leaving work at work. Sometimes I go home and you just kind of get squirreled into thinking, about the day and nope, got to come back and be engaged with the family and that's important.
How many kids at home, Joe?
I have 4. So, it is a handful.
You're outnumbered.
Yeah. I have 3 girls and 1 boy. So yes, I am outnumbered. And what's different in our situation is that we do homeschool our kids. So they are there all day. And so it's really important for me as a husband to come home and, help my wife debrief a little bit. And she's with the kids all day and she needs her time where Dad comes in and tries to take some of that burden or that load, I should say.
So, Jerry, be present is really important, isn't it?
Carm, I can't stress that. I cannot to everybody that I can get their attention with, whether it's on this call or webcast or whether it's face to face. I have to tell you, be present. Be present 100%. First of all, that's the most difficult thing for a human being to do is to be present in the moment right now. True. Be here right now. If you can do that, if you can master that, and we're talking Zen masters still work with this to accomplish it, right? So this is not an easy task, and I'm not going to, by any stretch of the imagination, intimate that it is easy to do. But if you can be in the present, most of the fear that we live with, the little voice in our head, we can eliminate, right? When you're at work, be at work. You got no business surfing Facebook or Twitter or unless that's part of your job. Okay, stay the hell off your text messaging. Have your wife send you an email or something if you need to communicate with her. Great, do it. That's what a cell phone is for, an emergency. Other than that, hey, be at work. Give it 100%. So that when you can go home with your family, be with your family, you're with them 100%. I was in a meeting this morning, started at 7 o'clock, talk about his past weekend. So dinner with his family, and a client calls him up, and he spends 20 minutes of family dinner time on the phone talking to a client. And I'm going to tell you something. My skin's crawling just at the thought of that. My belief, and this is just my belief, you are stealing time from your family.
Absolutely.
And you know what? That customer, that client, that would prospect, you know what? At the end of the day, if you died of a heart attack, they'd go to the next guy or gal.
Yep.
Okay. And he said, and after I got off that phone call, I got another phone call, and I wanted to reach over and just smack him in the forehead and say, what the heck are you even thinking? I know you have 3 kids at home. I know you have a lovely wife. Man, when you're with your family, everything else has got to be gone. I got to tell you, we were talking about the things. Greg talked about the 12 areas in his life that he focuses on every day. I have a sign over my computer, and in what we teach and what we coach people with we call it the 5 F's. And the 5 F's are faith, family, fitness, finances, and fun.
There you go.
And you know what? When you get those all 5, and when you're doing your faith, and whether that's being in church or whether that's praying to the universe, being thankful, whatever it is, namaste, whatever works for you, when you're giving that 100%, and then when you're with your family, it doesn't mean you divide your time 20% here, 20% here, 20%. You may have to be at work 10 to 12 hours a day, but when you're at work, if you're there 100%, I guarantee that when you're focused and you don't find those rabbit trails and you don't follow those little squirrel hops and you stay focused on what it is you're working with, you'll find out that you can get more done in a dedicated 3-hour time period than most people will do all week. So be 100% and play the game.
That's the purpose of these town halls. These are just classic automotive aftermarket lessons. And, not enough of us have someone in our face like you just did. Thank you.
Here, I will give everybody, you want the most amazing tip you want to increase your productivity? Here's the deal. Give yourself 90 minutes. Take whatever it is you're working on. Okay. Give yourself 90 minutes. I want to say, get your butt. I don't know if that's the word I'm going to use. I'm going to keep it family rated. Okay. Get your butt out of the shop. Take this thing, leave it in the car, turn it off, whatever you need to do. Go to the library where nobody knows you and spend 90 minutes of pure, uninterrupted time. And I will guarantee you that your productivity during those 90 minutes will be so far greater than what the hell you would be doing sitting at your desk with all the interruptions of the technicians, of the customers, of the phones ringing, of the salespeople coming in, of all these Lulus trying to steal your time. And when you learn as a business owner to respect your time, then other people will begin to respect your time. And this begins by realizing how freaking productive you can be and how productive you are not because of all of the interruptions, because everybody else puts their priority ahead of yours, and we allow it.
We allow it. There's the key. That's the key. You're making that choice.
You bet. It goes back to the choice.
Yeah.
It's the choice.
I mean, he is spot on. I don't do it in a library. I do it either swimming laps or walking in the woods, because I think there's tree energy is really great for you, by the way. Try it out. Just walk around in the woods somewhere and you'll get good exercise and you get all this oxygen at the same time.
I have 7 acres of woods. I know.
So you understand that he's right on the money there. We allow it to happen. And it's just, and interestingly enough, we didn't just get this way. We weren't just born knowing this stuff, guys. So understand that we all have experiences that have changed our lives. And, we need to understand where we fit in to the big picture. And Jerry was talking about your spirituality, and I don't want to get ahead of myself a little bit about this. And I don't really, it doesn't really matter whether you're raised in a particular religion, organized religion or not. There's a difference between spirit and religion. So I do think that just understanding how we got where we are and how this amazing body works and how the amazing world works. And yes, there's some craziness going on right now in our world. I guess we can all acknowledge that we have to find some balancing point, and it is becoming a little more difficult with it, especially with the folks down in DC. But I do think that it is it's incredibly important for us to understand what our position is in the world, and sometimes we may not even know this until, and in my case, it was when I went to a funeral of a client of mine and heard this whole discussion in his eulogy on how important, apparently, the relationship that he and I had was to him. I'm in a room full of people that I don't know. It's kind of a sad moment. And, this man has passed away. And then for almost 5 minutes, they're going on and on about his relationship with his mechanic. And I was, all of this stuff comes over me because I had no idea. And it changed me. We're in a different place now because of that. Because now when you deal with each of the clients, or when you deal with the people that you work with, or when you deal with your coaching clients or whoever, you have to realize that regardless of how frustrating it might be in your inside of here, you are making a difference in their life in some way. And whether it be working with kids in the Scouts, or whether, teach them how to build a fire or something like that, or whether you're teaching another shop owner how to find a balancing point and say no to the technician when he walks in the door, to ask a question about something that he should know. This is also the basis of our shop culture. I mean, the shop culture essentially comes from us, from the owner. Mm-hmm. And it's laid out in not only in our core values, which is some of which I'm sure we were raised with our families, and others are just what are really important in the world. I mean, your integrity is like, in my world, it's like the most important thing ever, and your compassion has to be there. And you said I was passionate. I am very passionate. I'm toning myself down, Carm. I want you to understand that.
I couldn't have asked for three better guys to bring their passion to this show. Wow. Joe, you bring your passion and your culture out all the time?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Greg was right. Our culture comes from us. It's who we are, and it's what we establish. When I come to work, I love, having a culture. And I'll say this phrase frequently, when somebody comes to me, are you coming to me with a problem or a solution? And after a while, you get people that come and they keep presenting these problems, and it's just like, well, we need to focus more on solutions. And it's kind of that phrase that was said before, give a man a fish and he eats for one day, teach him how to fish and he feeds himself for the rest of his life. And I want problem solvers to say, we have this problem, but here's a solution I want to bounce off you. And that's all part of the culture, give your staff the leeway to solve problems, and maybe it won't turn out. And then if it doesn't turn out, use it as a teachable moment, give them some grace and say, I appreciate that you're trying to resolve this issue, because we need people that think outside the box. And I don't want to be the kingpin of my business where everybody comes through me. Everybody needs to, run things by me. And I don't want to be, to have the Messiah complex where, I'm the most important here. I want them to take the ball and go.
By being your term, the Messiah, what you're doing is you're making your business completely dependent on you.
Yes, that's right.
And
bad idea.
As opposed to the way we run it here, is our business is systems oriented and systems dependent. And this is how I get to take off anywhere from 90 to 143 days a year, every year. And I've been doing it for the last, 8 or 10 years. And the business continues to operate and continues to get, the great points. But my God, man, if you're the kingpin, if you're the pivot point, you can't even go to the latrine without someone knocking on the
freaking
door. Hey,
been there, done that.
Yeah. Someone's on the phone, right? And so that's, for me, man, I'm all about freedom.
Yeah.
I got to have the freedom. And the freedom, look, no one's banging them. I got customers waving at me, right? Hey, how you doing? But my employees, no, they don't call my phone. They don't ring the internet. My cell phone's not going off. Everybody, because I got notes up here. This is on the air. Please do not disturb. Right? And my office is a glass fishbowl. So people here, it's trained. It's a training thing. but you've got to have the systems, you've got to have the processes, and hopefully we have it documented in a book so that in the event I'm out of town or you're out of town and something happens, they go to the book and go, okay, what would Joe do? What would Greg do? What would Jerry do? And you look in the book and they're going, okay, here it is, right? See, here it is. And then there's no grief. It's a beautiful system.
One of the things that you touched on was, freedom, and how many of us actually started our business because we wanted freedom. Well, it wasn't long in my experience that there was no freedom.
There's handcuffs.
This place is a jail. This is a prison. I can't leave. I can't do phone. That's the biggest lie they tell you. You own a business. Freedom. Yeah. Well, guess what? Listening to Jerry here, it is possible. And you just have to have the systems in place, and that's awesome.
That's what we teach. The EMyth Revisited by Michael Gerber. The best nonfiction book for business owners I've ever read. I recommend it. We teach it. We preach it. I kick my students in the butt if they don't have it. And we talk about it every single month.
The podcast is littered, and it's not really maybe the right word, with EMyth all over it. And I just encourage everyone to go to the website, find the tag cloud, look for the words The EMyth, click on it, and every episode that ever had anything to do with the EMyth will come up. And if you want to get into why the EMyth changed people's lives and changed their business, and they tell you the emotional story of having gone from working in their business to on their business, it will change your life.
Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I got something I got to mention about what Jerry was just saying, and I really agree with everything he's saying, talking about the systems or orientation. To parlay that on, Joe said something that is just fantastic, and he said, give them grace. That is such a powerful term. If you think about it, it is just fantastic, because these people that you have working with you are not you.
Right.
They will never be you. That doesn't mean they'll never be good enough. That means that they are them and you are you, and you're working together. You guys have come together in your world to work together for now. The point being is that you have to realize that just because you have all those years of able to turn wrenches and all of that skill, that doesn't mean that you are better than them. Okay. And so therein lies this respect for the people that work with me, not for me. Okay. There's a distinct difference there. So I'd like to make sure we understand that. One of the things that I'm really big on is, I guess there's another book called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Right. Maxwell, it's back here. The point I'm trying to make with that is one of the things that really hit me and out of that book is I want to be a leader of leaders. I do not want to be a leader of followers. When you do it in my way or the highway, then it's going to be a leader of followers that will be yes men, and they will, they will not be able to do it when you're not there. As you were saying, Jerry, you were absolutely right. The systems have to be in place, but understand that they're not going to do it exactly the same way you're going to do it. You're hoping that your culture and your mission statement, and I haven't talked about mission statement yet, but has to do with how you're going to do your business and how we're going to treat our clients. When it comes to mission statement, this is a tool that we all need to use to help us. It makes it much easier for us to make decisions, first of all, because if you know that all the decisions you're making, or should I buy this pencil or not? Well, will it help me get to that? Well, yeah. Okay, then buy it. Should I hire this guy, or should I put up with this kind of behavior? And sometimes when you have to discipline somebody, you go in here and you look at them and say, well, what part of this list of things that we're doing in our mission, when you behave this way, how is this furthering this along? And it gives you an opportunity to help them understand that everybody's got to be aligned. You try to push the car into the shop, and there's people all around the car, and everybody's pushing in the wrong direction, right? You got to keep pulling people off the car until you get enough people on the back of the car that pushes it forward, right? That's the goal.
One of the most amazing experiences I had, my wife and I, we have been going to personal growth seminars since August 2004. We average once a month somewhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And we went to this one seminar, and I'll just give you the Reader's Digest condensed version. There were 2,500 people inside this room, not a small group. At one point, we were all given a line drawing being something like out of a coloring book, right? It was white paper, black lines, and we were given 4 crayons. We were given a white crayon, a yellow crayon, a purple crayon, and a black crayon. All 2,500 people had the same drawing, the same 4 colors. The line drawing was of Merlin the magician. The leader of the conference said, okay, I want everybody to color Merlin. And he gave us a few minutes to color Merlin. At some point, he said, okay, we got 1 minute left. Is everybody happy with their Merlin? Everybody was. Is there anybody not happy with their Merlin? Okay. Not one person said they were unhappy. And this was a huge, huge lesson for me as a business owner, right? So he said, okay, now what I want everybody to do is we're going to get in 2 circles around the entire room. We're going to face each other, and we're going to have everybody show each other your line drawing. How many do you think, now out of 2,500 people, same drawing, 4 colors, how many were the same?
Probably most of them, I would think.
0.
Really? They're all different.
Every one of them was different some way. There were out of 2,500 drawings, not 2 of them were the same. And so as a business owner, the big takeaway that I got was just because I do it this way does not mean it's the only freaking way to get it done. And at that point, you stop micromanaging your people. You tell them, this is your end goal. Go make it happen.
Right.
And you're out of it, because you know what? If there's 2,500 freaking ways to color Merlin, there's got to be 10 million ways to do things here. Is that fair?
Take a breather, buddy. Take a breather.
Good truth right there.
Oh my, this has gone places I did not expect. Wow. Okay, so give us the secret to a 4-day work week.
The secret is that there isn't one. You just got to do it. I mean, really, it's a commitment. Like you guys were both saying, there's a commitment that you make to this. I told you before, I said some shops think I'm crazy. And yeah, I guess I am in a way, because I am probably losing money. And I guess I could have been making more money if I was open every Friday, a regular shift or whatever. There are places that are open on Saturday even. And I know when we all started our business, we worked like crazy, and I worked the same way. And I just, everybody hates Saturdays, because it suck, but that's usually the way it is. So we dropped it back to 5 days just because everybody says this is how you do it. But I've been doing the 4-day work week since 1990. If you look at it this way, I went to the guys that we had at that time, and I said to them, if we add an hour on in the morning and an hour on in the evening, well, and I don't know if many of you know about the Washington, D.C. traffic area. Traffic in D.C. areas sucks. So if you leave earlier in the morning, it's easier, right? And if you leave a little bit later at night, it's easier to get home, right? So that helps out. But look at this, 20% less fuel used, right? 20% less utilities. Yes, I am paying rent 24/7 on the building, well, of course, and it's sitting right now today. It's dark, and nothing's happening there. But it's okay if we can make it happen in 4 days, what we normally would be doing in 5. Why not? And at first I thought my own idea was crazy, because as the person doing the paperwork, it was like, well, how the heck am I going to get all my stuff done in 4 days? I can't even get it done in 5, this kind of thing. So, but it worked out. It's worked out. And now, Fridays is when I see my clients, my coaching clients, and I do this kind of stuff. And while we all know that the business, as a business owner, or especially if you started the business, that it's sort of always there. It's kind of back there all the time, marketing and promotion, and it's sort of always there. So I won't say that there have never been anything that I haven't. I won't say that there's never been a Friday that I haven't done something for the shop, but mostly it's, I got to take care of myself first. So primarily that's what it is.
This is going to be a favorite episode for the world to listen to, I will tell you that. We went to places, we talked about spirituality. I think you nailed it. I really did. You got to make the decisions, the tough decisions in your own world. So I thank you all so much for that. Greg Skolnick from Motorworks, Joe Velen from Auto Safety Center, and Jerry Gazaya from Auto Shop in Plano, Texas. Guys, get on the pulpit and drive it home. Let me see. I'll do Joe first.
All right. Well, I guess for me, it's they mentioned some F words before, a list of F words. I don't remember all
Faith,
of them.
family, fitness, fun, and what, Jerry?
Faith, family, fitness, finances. Fun.
Okay.
Got to watch the money, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So in my summary, I had two of those F's in there. I had faith and I had family and I had work as far as the priorities. And I think that, make productivity a priority in your life. Know your purpose. Know what you're called to do in your organization. Do it to the best of your ability. And also leave some fuel in the tank for when you get home and your other responsibilities. Because if there's anything I learned here today, was that, you have employees, you have customers, but what are they compared to your family, your kids and your spouse, and how much more valuable are you to your home family than you are to your employees or your clients? Not to say that they're not important, but think about it. I mean, if the shop were to close, they'll find another job, they'll take their car somewhere else. But what if you're gone from your family's life? What's going to happen there?
Thank you so much for that. By the way, I have to tell you, you said something, Joe, that struck a chord. You said what I learned here today. It is amazing. Every panel that I've had, 34 of these now since January 1st, I get emails back from my guests, my friends, and they say, I learned something. I'm glad I was on. Not only were they there to teach and to share, but they also learned. So can you imagine the benefit to the aftermarket and the people that listen? Wow. Greg, I'll let you go next.
I like the concept of understanding your level of spirituality and not necessarily religion. Okay. I mean, most of us were if you were raised in a family that was that particular religion, it's not your fault. Now we're old enough, we can choose, right? But the idea here is that there is something greater than just ourselves. So, I mean, Jerry mentioned something about, the universe, however you want to call it, the creator, whatever. It is important that we acknowledge that, because that's what's going to overarch most of everything else. That gives us some support. And coming from a family where I didn't get a strong religious education. This is really important. It's turned out to be very important. And I've got to thank my wife for that, because she's the one who sort of helped me along that path. Knowing who you are and why you are there, why you get out of bed every day is crucial. I mean, this is really, really important. So, she also got me into yoga. And I know that may sound really funny, but on Tuesdays I do yoga and I really like it. And it's just because it is, yes, it's very woo-woo and but it's very relaxing, and yet it's difficult. I mean, I'm sore the next day or day after because of it. And so if you think it's silly, don't think it's so silly. Just try it.
Jerry, I'll let you have the last word.
Oh, thanks, Carm. I'm grateful. This has been a great conversation, and I'm grateful that I was invited to be a part of this. I can only stress upon everybody that's listening to this: do your very best to be present. Take the time. You can't go to the library with a tune-up, that's for sure. But when you're working on your business, and for me, I had to make the conscious choice. Right? And the conscious choice, was I going to be the best with one of these? Or was I going to be the best with one of these?
Yeah.
And this is the choice I made. I can do this until I'm in my 70s, 80s, or 90s. And you can't do that with one of these. Unfortunately, we have a tough business. Mm-hmm. Make a wise choice. Be the master of your business. Master it to the best of your ability. Give it 100% of your consciousness. Give it 100% of your attention when you're at work and when you're at home. Please be with your family, because there's nobody, not one person ever recorded on their dying breath, the last 30 seconds, said, I wish I spent more time at work. You really want to spend time with the people that mean the world to you, and you do that by being with them when you're with them. If you're just sitting on your ass watching television, you're not with them. If you got your face stuck in your phone or your iPad, you're not with them. Be with them, really. And I guarantee you the dividends will be paid back so enormously you cannot even believe. Namaste.
For all of our audio listeners, Jerry was holding up a wrench.
That was a wrench. We have it on film. It's recorded.
And he was holding up a pen. And so all of our audio listeners, we have a lot of audio listeners, they're going to say, oh no, I'm going to have to go back and watch the video. But to all of our commuters, it was a pen or a wrench. Thank you all so much. Inspiring, enlightening. You knocked it out of the park. Have a great weekend.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Carm.
Thank you.
Take care, guys.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time,